He's not going anywhere anytime soon. But when you have a will-be 42-year-old quarterback entering the season, it's time to start looking for what's next. I'm Alex Barth. He is Evan Lazar. This is the FOXBORO Report, brought to you by betonline.ag. Place your bets today, and for a 50% bonus on your sign-up, visit clnsmedia.com/win. Evan, we feel pretty confident, as we talked about in the last video. You can check that out on the CLNS Media YouTube page. Tom Brady will be back. Contract situation still a little to be worked out, but he will start as the Patriots quarterback at 42 years old in 2019. The question is 2020, maybe 2021. Where's the replacement? We had for years and years and years, well, 4 years, the safety blanket that was Jimmy Garoppolo. And nobody really believed Tom Brady's 45-year-old comment at the time. It all looked like it was going to time out so perfectly.
We're going to be standing here 3 years from now, and it's going to be coming back for 45.
I will say, if he plays until 45, hypothetically, somebody the Patriots draft this year, the last year of their contract would be that 45 years. So now you can kind of start the clock again like they did with Jimmy Garoppolo for Brady retiring at age 40. So let's start with the draft. There's other places the Patriots go, but we'll start with the draft. I know some people said that this year's quarterback class doesn't have a lot of potential. I don't know that that's true. I just think that there's a lot of guys that people have mixed opinions about.
There's a lot of question marks, right? There's no high floor players in this draft at the quarterback position. There's a lot of potential, but there's nobody that's there right now where we're going to say you can slate him in and start him week 1 and you're going to have a quarterback in the
granted,
future.
The Patriots don't need, but still.
And also, certainly, you came off a year last year with Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen, where you had a ton of quarterback talent at the top of the draft. Biggest thing, though, don't be naive. Tom Brady is 42. Tom Brady's still playing at a very high level. This could fall out from underneath him at any time, right? I'm not going Max Kellerman Cliff on everybody, but I'm just saying you have to have a backup plan.
It's not just about Brady. You have Gronkowski potentially on the way out, 3 of their top receivers potentially on the way out. I mean, this offense is, as it stands right now, and they've been in this position before, the Patriots, and Bill Belichick has cleaned it up, but this offense is really on a cliff right now.
And that said, I would also say you don't have to force it, right? So if there's not a guy in this draft that you don't like or that you don't love, you don't need to force it because you do have Tom Brady.
But
so
is there a guy you think is worth pursuing?
Well, I think the one guy that I would keep an eye on is Kyler Murray. And I know that a lot of people are going to be like, whoa, Kyler Murray, like that doesn't fit at all, right? You know, he's not the type of guy that the Patriots have typically gone after. But the reason being is a couple of things. One, he's fantastic from the pocket. It's a very underrated skill set of his. And the Patriots are infatuated with the Oklahoma program and Lincoln Riley. They absolutely loved Baker Mayfield. I think that they might have a similar eye towards Kyler Murray. The other thing is that Kyler is not the intangible, measurable quarterback, right? He's not the 6'4", cannon arm, you know, 225. He doesn't fit all of those kind of thresholds. So what do the Patriots love to do? They love to zig when everybody else is zagging and kind of find those market deficiencies or inequalities. One of these is going to be Kyler Murray. We're going to get a test of the old school scouting in the draft this year because his tape suggests that Kyler Murray should be a top 10 pick. If he was 6 foot or 6'1", he might be going #1 overall. But because he's 5'9", 180 pounds, he could fall to the back of the first round.
Well, then there are those more prototypical guys, names that have been thrown out for the Patriots. Daniel Jones out of Duke.
Daniel Jones out of Duke is a rhythm passer. Reminds me a lot of Mason Rudolph last year. I like his tape. I think he's a solid quarterback. But the biggest thing is that when the environment is clean for him, he's solid. When he's throwing on time, he's good. When the play breaks down or he has to go off script or he has to get to his secondary reads, it can get astray, and especially under pressure like a lot of these college quarterbacks. The other name, obviously, is going to be Will Grier. A lot of people are going to talk about him.
I'm in that camp.
He's kind of like, you know, he has some Jimmy Garoppolo in him. I wouldn't say that he's quite Jimmy Garoppolo yet, but he has some of that. You know, he's got quick decision maker, quick release in the pocket. He really beats you from the pocket most of the time. He can get through a progression for the most part. His downfield accuracy and his downfield velocity, I think, is going to be his biggest issue. I'm looking forward to seeing him throw at the combine because when you see people throw live, you kind of get a feel for how quick that ball and how much zip is really coming on that ball. That's going to be a big thing for him. Baker was able to pass passed that test. He's not, Baker doesn't have a cannon, but he's able to go out
He's
there
good enough.
and say, okay, I have an NFL arm. It'll be questionable whether Will Grier does, and that's going to be answered at the combine.
Okay, now the Patriots don't have to go to the drafts potentially to get Brady's replacement. There are some names that have been thrown out within the NFL as well. You mentioned Kyler Murray potentially being a #1 pick.
Yeah.
That would be in Arizona.
It's not
where
happening
Josh
in
Rosen
Arizona.
is. You don't think there's any chance the Patriots can make a play for Josh Rosen?
0, maybe 5%. Okay. I'll put it up because I don't want to say 0 and then have it come back and bite me. So I'll say 5%. Josh Rosen not only internally has been discussed as the future of the Arizona Cardinals, they're saying it externally now too, with Cliff Kingsbury coming out and saying
they can say that and then at the last second switch and trade him. They may be just trying to drive the price up.
Though. There's no inclination from inside the organization. This is, not things that are being talked about publicly that they are wanting to move on from Josh Rosen. I think Kingsbury is moving forward, at least for the next couple of years, with the impression that Josh Rosen is his quarterback. All of this started because Cliff Kingsbury had a video like 3 years ago about how great Kyler Murray was, and now 3 years later that he has a head coaching job and he happens to have the #1 overall pick, we're kind of drumming up that conversation again. A lot has changed, and it's a completely different situation. If the Cardinals didn't have a quarterback, if they were in the same position that they were in last year, I think it would be very much a slam dunk that Kyler Murray was going to be the #1 pick to Arizona. I think that he's stuck with Josh Rosen.
There's a couple more names that could end up in free agency. A couple guys primed for buyouts. One of them is Blake Bortles in Jacksonville, who the Patriots reportedly have had interest in the past. The other one, and this kind of just popped up today, Case Keenum. Things are lining up. If he doesn't get traded, he's probably going to get bought out in Denver. It's about an $8 million buyout for them after they acquire Joe Flacco. Keenum's a guy that, look, he may not be the next guy to Tom Brady. He's already 30. By the time Brady retires, if he plays 2 more years, you're looking at replacing Keenum in a year or two. But maybe that's what the Patriots want. Maybe they're just looking for a bridge guy after Brady to buy them a little more time in the draft.
This I really like because Keenum. I like Keenum because I like him as a quarterback. He has 1 year, obviously, in Minnesota of high-level play. I mean, he was like playing out of his mind for the Vikings a couple years ago. Now, obviously, it's with Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, but the biggest thing that he did was he was like Houdini in the pocket. He was making plays under pressure, scrambling, but kind of scrambling to throw, not scrambling to run. That was just magical. So I think that the biggest thing with Case Keenum is that they can bring him in, get him in the system for a year, and just see what they have with them, right? And potentially have him back up Tom Brady for the next couple of years, develop him in the system, and turn the keys over to him when the time is right. But he gives you a little bit more upside than Brian Hoyer. I think everybody knows that Brian Hoyer is a career backup.
Right, Brian Hoyer's not going to be the starting quarterback of the Patriots.
If they had to put Case Keenum in a game, if they had to turn the keys over to Case Keenum, let's say in a year or two, I don't think they could be in worse shape. So I don't hate Case Keenum, and I also think that they could kind of make one of those moves where you trade maybe a day 3 pick for him and to get him before he hits waivers or hits free agency.
And finally, we have to talk about, because he was the last quarterback drafted by the Patriots, and it was after the Garoppolo trade. Everybody expected them to take a quarterback. They go last year. They pull the trigger on Danny Etling, spends the year on the practice squad. I mean, one word. Give me one word. Is Danny Etling factor into this future at all?
No.
Okay, that's the one word I was looking for. I don't think so either. No. I mean, he's a nice practice squad player.
He's a nice practice squad player. He works really hard by all accounts.
Yeah.
He's trying to keep up with Brady's regimen, not necessarily his workout regimen, but just the hours that he's putting into football, about 16 hours a day during the season. But his accuracy is a huge issue. His handling of pressure is another huge issue. His college tape is not a starter's tape. Let me put it that way.
It's not. I mean, you go put on any LSU game last year, you see him overthrowing people.
And I think it's ridiculous that people think that he is the future. They spent a 7th-round pick on him. I get that Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick. Can we stop acting like that happens every day? Like
There's a reason Tom Brady is special, and clearly because he's so special, finding his replacement is going to be difficult. Do you have any thoughts on the topic? Let us know in the comments down below or on Twitter @PatriotsCLNS. This edition of the Offseason Foxborough Report has been brought to you by betonline.ag. For a 50% bonus on your sign-up, visit clnsmedia.com/win today. For Evan Lazar, I'm Alex Barth from Gillette Stadium. Thanks for watching.